r/us credit. What should we learn from this COVID-19 pandemic? People with disabilities could have worked remotely for years. Not just that, so many of the accessibility requests we've made could have been honored with basically low/no cost. Companies just didn't want to. Our employees are as productive as they've ever been, despite working fewer hours and no commute. Should have hugged more when we had the chance. Dead people receives more flour than alive. Anything can happen, no matter how absurd it sounds. Yes, and by anything I mean literally anything. Don't take anything for granted. Being able to hug family members and see friends and having a job and going to school etc. That a lot of people are dumbasses. Never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience. Mark Twain. Arguing with an idiot is like mud wrestling with a pig. You get muddy and the pig enjoys it. We need to handle a financial situation. Edit. Thank you kind user for the platinum. It makes the Hamilton shitposter in me happy. Are we a nation of states? What's the state of our nation? Even if the cure is staying home and watching TV, we'll still mess it up somehow. Retail workers have feelings too. While you're in our stores yelling at us for not having certain essential products, just know that we are struggling to find that stuff for our families too. Our entire system was way too fragile. Turns out operating on razor thin margins can come crashing down if normal life is disrupted for more than 3 weeks. Supply chains need to be diversified, and we need to stop chasing the cheapest options. Corporate real estate in cities full of offices overvalued. I think we'll see less of a focus on having to be in/near a major urban center. A large portion of our population is a few bad days away from total financial ruin, and it turns out that more often than not, those are the people who keep this whole shitty system afloat. Also turns out I've been apparently harboring a lot of rage against the way things are just under the surface for a while now. That hygiene is fucking important. As a guy, I've noticed too many times guys simply not washing their hands after going for a piss because they don't think they need to. This pandemic has shown that washing your hands is extremely important. I mean, how it took a global pandemic to get people to actually start washing their hands regularly boggles my mind. Seriously, if you take a piss, wash your goddamn hands. Our working hours are arguably too long and our work life is too busy. This pandemic had shown working from home is a lot more possible than we previously thought, and a lot of work can be done quicker than previously thought. Some people have had more free time from working at home during this pandemic. I still think there's a place for the office work life as well, considering it also provides us opportunity to socialize with our work colleagues etc. But we need to give more people the chance to work from home if they wish to, and our working hours don't need to be that long. Wages are too low for some people. We've learned that those grocery store workers who society once saw as unskilled workers, well, they actually matter and are the backbone of keeping us going. While we are all at home taking it easy during lockdown, they were the ones ensuring we were still able to buy our groceries and put food on the table. Human contact is more important than we realize, especially for people's mental health. We need to appreciate our friends and family more, and that life is short. We've seen so many people lose their lives too soon during this pandemic, and that we really should appreciate our loved ones before they are taken from us. Healthcare is far more important than we previously thought. COVID has shown just how important it is for every citizen to have healthcare, and for every hospital to have adequate funding, otherwise you risk the healthcare system becoming overwhelmed. No one should be left without access to healthcare. And lastly, we need to fucking listen to medical and scientific experts. They know what they are talking about. Working from home is good, learning from home not so much. It'll take years to show, but our children's education will suffer because of this. I'm not saying we should throw all the kids back in the school and get them all sick. I honestly don't have a better suggestion than learning from home. But the idea that you can sit a 10-year-old in front of a computer screen, have them listen to boring lectures all day, and actually absorb any information at all is fucking stupid. To just be kind. Why won't we lift each other up instead of being so selfish? Give one of your 18 packages of toilet paper to the 80-year-old woman who can't trample through the crowd. Wear a fucking mask. Nobody is stomping on your freedoms. Smile at each other. Don't judge on what they look like. Don't complain because McDonald's gave free food to emergency workers and not you. Life isn't that bad, and nobody is getting out alive. We make it harder on each other? Why? We will never know the struggle each other is going through. Why can't we just be nice? We need to come to grips with the fact that, as a species, we don't have a permanent lease on this planet. Any disease, no matter its form or function, that attacks us has no concern over national or economic boundaries. Any resolution to this disease problem must also have no concern over national or economic boundaries. National exceptionalism combined with geographic isolation is little more than a mutually agreed upon suicide pact. SARS was a warning shot. We ignored it. COVID-19 took a nick out of us. The next one could be devastating. We have to learn how to attack disease globally as a species. And I pray that this is what we learned. I fear that we have not. Hospitals can't be run with agile, lean solutions. They cannot be run as for-profit corporations. They cannot be run with thin, just enough margins for staff and equipment. I have worked in medical science my whole life, and over the last 10 years have seen the effect of the corporatization of hospitals. The common stocks are gone. Each lab and department has to order for itself. The staff have to constantly fight for their supplies and they have to work harder for less. If that's the situation in H&M or IKEA or whatever, and suddenly 50% more people surge into a store, it's no big deal. There are queues. If you get a predictably regular surge in medical need, it is a big deal. If a hospital has its capacity cut until it can just manage normally, then the second there's an emergency it will start to fail. And apparently, the costs of that failure, human lives lost needlessly, is not a price people want to pay. Although apparently it's a price politicians and lobbyists find less hard to swallow. Working from home where possible should always be an option, unless there's a legitimate reason to go into the office. Having an office should still be able to host meetings or meet with clients, but it should not be standard and expected for every employee to work only in the office. There are situations where working in the office is preferable. People without places at home to work effectively, for example, or when working with sensitive data. However, working from home gives an insane amount of benefits. Commuting takes up time and money, as well as having negative impact on the environment. My car insurance has dropped because I've been able to cut my annual mileage in half. I'm also not spending money on fuel or time sat in traffic. Eating at home is easier, cheaper and healthier. No more fast food, because it's quick and easy. No more spending money on lunch, when I can just cook something up, or heat it at home. Spending more time with my family is amazing. I have a 7-month-old son and I have been able to see all those amazing moments I would have missed if I was away for 9 hours a day. I'm not just that guy who's around 2 days a week as well as bedtime. Who needs a lunch break when you can take macro breaks all day? I'm able to quickly jump on Reddit between meetings, break up the hours-long monotony of crafting documentation by walking the dog, or going on YouTube without needing to worry about colleagues judging me. My productivity and work turnaround isn't even comparable to before. I know now that when all my tasks for the day are complete, I can do whatever the hell I want until another task pops up, or I get a call asking me for something. That means the second I get something in, I action it as soon as possible, so I can enjoy my time. There's way more, but I've gone from being sat in an office working 40 hours a week, to being at home and only spending 10-20 hours a week working. I'm also now not limited to the hours of 9 to 5. If my boss emails me at 11 PM, guess what? I reply at 11:30 PM, because I don't need to get up to be in the office for 9. I could talk about this all day, but it is insane to me how people still think working from home is bad. I was made redundant from my previous role in March because of the pandemic, but I still have my old boss on LinkedIn, and he is sharing 2 to 3 articles a week about how working from home needs to stop as soon as possible. I really don't understand it. I've got just as good, if not stronger bonds with my colleagues now after just 2 months over Teams than I did in 2 years with my last colleagues, being forced to sit in an office with them all day.